Ayara Ramadhava Kunjabihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yasodanandana Brajajananandana Yasodanandana Brajajananandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadiya Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadiya Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Vrindavana Dham. Jaya Radha Sama Sundara, Radha Sama Sundara. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Srila Gurudev. मिथिला विशिष्ट जंग विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजक ज्येष्ठतर सतः श्री श्रीमद एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री श्री भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय, जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ षड गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री भासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, जय श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय, जय श्री श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय, जय श्री श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, जय श्री श्री द्वारका धाम की जय, जय श्री श्री बद्रिका धाम की जय, जय श्री श्री अयोध्या धाम की जय, जय श्री श्री कृष्ण भक्ति पदायनी बृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय, जय श्री श्री गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की जय, जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय, जय श्री श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, जय श्री श्री युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ऑल गोइज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा, all goes to assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all goes to assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all goes to Sri Guru Varanga Srila Prabhupada की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदमह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जयतं श्रुतपङ्गुर्ममन्दमतिगते मत्सर्वसपदम्बजो राधा मदनमोहनो नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमपदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गुरुतसे नमः जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमः वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम् Hare Krishna. So first of all, I am feeling myself very much privileged and grateful to the temple management for giving me this opportunity to glorify Srila Prabhupada through narrating the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, which was written by Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj. So actually most of the days the class is being conducted by our Prabhupada's one of the dearmost disciple, Her Grace Devi Shakti Mataji. Somehow or other her health is not good, so that's the reason why I am here. So maybe it is my first English Lilamrita class. I have given before Hindi. So Prabhuji is there. So I don't know, I'll try my best because I don't have that much, first-hand practical experience like Prabhupada disciples, those who have witnessed Prabhupada's Leela personally. So they can probably describe in a better way. Whatever we have heard, we have read, or we have little bit mental picture we have. I will try my best to narrate this module which has been assigned today to me. So we are in the third volume of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. So today we are going to discuss the first chapter, almost the last 4 pages. Towards the end of this chapter, the title of this entire volume is Only He Could Lead Them. That means Prabhupada only could lead them. Those who are very fallen, we are all of you, those who are hearing these episodes every Sunday, so they must have heard last week from Devi Shakti Mataji how she was describing how Prabhupada was dealing with the drug addicts. So the first chapter is entitled as Swami Invites the Hippies. So we are towards the last part of this section. So last week you have heard that one time just Prabhupada was translating the many books he had already translated. So he was dictating basically. It was almost like 1:30 am in the early morning. So as usual, Prabhupada used to take a early nap for 2 hours, used to sleep and get up early, and he used to keep that most precious time, which is very relatively quiet, to for the literary work. It is mentioned here in this letter on today. We will read how Prabhupada, it is a personal, very intimate message Prabhupada used to give during this part of the day. So usually Prabhupada don't meet anybody. Though he was very liberal, Prabhupada was open to all kind of, people, including the hippies and others. So as we have heard last week that while he was translating these books, especially this particular day, he was translating the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So it was very important message Prabhupada was going to give, but somehow he was facing many disturbances. As we know, most of the drug addicts, they used to remain awake the entire night, and these drug addicts suddenly they come and they they disturb this great sadhus so in that context you have heard how a drug addict boy, he disturbed Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada, last week Mataji was telling, I was hearing the lecture. So Mataji very nicely described how Prabhupada dealt with the situation in a very expert manner. Prabhupada he was not an ordinary soul like us, conditioned soul. He was eternal liberated soul. That's why, and he was very compassionate. You can see the eyes of Srila Prabhupada. You see the eyes itself says how much compassionate he is. First of all, we should know how to compassionate to ourselves. then we can think of become. Otherwise, one cannot preach the Krishna consciousness unless one is compassionate. So, in this regard, also Prabhupada was very superly, he was very intelligent to deal with any kind of situation, especially the drug addicts. You know how difficult. Being a medical man, I know, I have seen many cases also. They really, when the withdrawal symptom comes, it is impossible to control them. Even to give an injection itself is so difficult to sedate the patients. So we can imagine being a sannyasi of such a high order sannyasi, Paramahamsa, how difficult it is. But Prabhupada was so expert just by his words, just by his indications, things were settling like anything, because his spiritual master and Krishna was right there with Prabhupada. He was feeling all the time. He was getting empowerment from Krishna. So as we know, the boy was also, it was mentioned, like he was outwitted by Srila Prabhupada. He never become angry, or he never become emotionally harassed. And neither Prabhupada was very careful. He never wanted to hurt anybody sentiment. So that is why he was expert. One of the 26 Vaishnava qualities Srila Prabhupada had. And he was a great human being, in the sense, a great personality, like we came across in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Yudhishthira Maharaj, while he was coronated as the king of the entire world, Chakravarti Maharaj. So that time the beautiful qualities of Yudhishthira Maharaj has been described. So in that context, we know that how he was very spiritually absorbed. So like Prabhupada, even though he was facing many difficulties, many disturbances, he was all the time spiritually absorbed. As we'll discuss today, how he was not even a tinge, he was disturbed by this kind of mishaps. So then he was also very socially very sensitive. He was not callous. Oh, what is happening? Let it happen. Let the people become drug addicts. No, he was feeling very pain in his heart. He was feeling sorry, and he tried to take them away from the clutches of Maya. So that's why he was very socially sensitive. At the same time, he was politically alert. So these are the three qualities which Yudhishthira Maharaj had. So similarly, Prabhupada was not less than like Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj. In that sense, he was as good as them, as far as the current generation is concerned. And he was very tolerant. One of the great quality, Titiksava Karunika, Sadhava Sadhubhusana, Ajata Satru. He never had any enemy. And he was extremely tolerant to all these kind of misbehavior by these drug addicts. Those are in high. So, so in this context, you have heard, so it is mentioned earlier that in San Francisco, while preaching, so especially the Americans, Prabhupada was very tolerant, and he was tolerating the crazy behavior of all these arrogant, they were very challenging people. So Prabhupada, he was ready to speak. It is mentioned, Satsvarup Maharaj says, he was ready to speak with the hippies all the day. That means 24 hours his door was open. Devi Shakti Mataji very nicely described how I am not expert like her. I am just trying to little bit touch the dust of her feet. So whatever little I know, I am trying to share. So Prabhupada, it is mentioned that early hour he used to keep exclusively for the literary work, because there he could think very peacefully. On the deeper, he was writing these commentaries after reading all the previous acharyas' commentaries. So, and Prabhupada knew how difficult it is to preach the conditioned souls. So that is what has been mentioned by in this chapter. So it is there, the last sentence you Mataji read last time, that this morning hour, early hours, to speak intimately to the whole world through his books without any disturbance. Then we are going to start from today, from here. Almost 4 pages we are going to cover. So only 30 minutes are there. So the girl, so basically we heard the last time it was described while Prabhupada was doing this translation, I mean to say literation. So then suddenly somebody knocked the door, and she was some girl, some woman voice was there, and she was howling, Swamiji, Swamiji, open the door, I want to talk to you, I want to speak to you. So like that voice was coming. So obviously Prabhupada came, and he was standing just inside the room, but he said, no, this is not the time to meet, so please come tomorrow. Definitely I will like to meet you, I will see what problems you have, but now it is not possible. But that girl was so violent, you see what she did. So the girl, however, continued pounding and calling until Prabhupada finally opened the door. So the situation went so bad that Prabhupada had to open, because he was very compassionate. He wanted to help her. So there, standing in the hallway, he saw a teenage hippie with a glassy stare and deranged appearance. Basically, she was wearing improper cloth because she was under influence of the drugs, and obviously the eyes are wide open. That's why Satsaru Maharaj says it's a glassy stare. And he asked her, Prabhupada asked her what she wanted. What do you want? So she remained tensely silent. Then Prabhupada said, speak. Prabhupada told her, speak. Then she stepped inside the room. He saw her helpless, a victim in the ocean of Maya. This is where Prabhupada stands, and compared to other sadhus who all failed miserably. But Prabhupada was, he used to say, I will kick out Maya from you. So like that, this is an example. And then Prabhupada asked her repeatedly what she wanted. Finally the girl stared at him with wide open eyes and exclaimed, look, Mahaula. This is the word she told. Long look, just like under influence, So Prabhupada decided to awaken Mukunda. So Prabhupada saw this was very beyond being a sannyasi. He was very felt very disturbed, because Prabhupada used to go up to certain limit. After that he used to take different actions. So in this scenario it was going beyond his limit. So Prabhupada decided to awaken Mukunda, his disciple who was there, who lived down the hall. So Prabhupada stepped barefoot into the hallway. The girl followed, shutting the self-locking door behind her. So once Prabhupada started walking, the girl also followed Prabhupada, and the door got locked. Now he was locked out of his apartment. So Prabhupada wanted to stay inside the apartment, but now he came out. So she continued to stare at him defiantly in the bare unfriendly surroundings of a corridor of locked doors at 1 in the morning. That means 1 o'clock, just imagine, this all drama is happening. So this way, this was why the Babajis of Vrindavan, here it is mentioned, stayed in their little cottages chanting the holy name to avoid being bothered by ungodly people. So as we know, anybody goes out, especially the abroad, Prabhuji has more experience. He has visited many places. So ungodly people, those are atheists. They are marechas. So how? So they didn't want to deal with them. So the Babajis, of course, never even dreamed of these bizarre intrusions from the psychedelic San Francisco night. So obviously those psychedelic means those who are psychologically affected by the drugs. That's why the Babaji's never go. So then at Mukunda's door, Prabhupada began pounding and calling loudly, Mukunda, Mukunda. Prabhupada shouted. Just imagine the spiritual master is standing and calling the disciple, the servant. So Mukunda awake and opened the door, astonished to see his spiritual master standing barefoot in the hallway. So he was surprised. Oh, my spiritual master is standing in front of me. So he got shocked. What happened? So then he saw just behind Prabhupada a wild-eyed young girl standing a few feet behind Srila Prabhupada. So that girl was also standing there. Yet Prabhupada remained grave and aloof. This is the quality of a Vaishnava. As we know, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami gives 9 characteristics of a Bhava Bhakti. What are they? First is Khyanti Abhyartha Kalatvam. Khyanti means Prabhupada never got disturbed by an inch. Is it? Just like Ambarish Maharaj, the Durvasa Muni, he created a big demon, fiery demon, but Ambarish Maharaj didn't move by an inch. This is a Vaishnava. He's so much confident Krishna will give me protection. So like that, though the scenario was very furious, like a sannyasi, so he was very peaceful. Prabhupada was never, it is mentioned, neither he was harassed nor he was angry. So Shanti. Then Abhyartha Kalatva means he never wasted a single moment. Then Viraktir, he is always detached. Then Mana Sunyata, he has no desire for any prestige. Then Asabandha Samutkantha, Namagane Sadaruchi. So Asabandha means always hope against the hope. Then Samutkantha, he is always waiting with all eagerness that success will come. That is another. And Namagane Sadaruchi. Prabhupada was always, you see in the end of this chapter, Prabhupada should do kirtan in this kind of scenario. Always do kirtan. And Prabhupada did it. So, and then Prititat Basati Sthale, where the pastimes of the Lord happens, the devotee likes to stay there. So there here it is said, yet Prabhupada remained grave and aloof. So this girl came to my door, Prabhupada said. So Prabhupada started. So he explained briefly what had happened and what should now be done. He did not appear angry or harassed, you see, Prabhupada, by the girl. And he indicated that Mukunda should deal kindly with her. This is how you should not be harsh. If somebody is angry, if you become more angry means she will be more, that is the compassion of Prabhupada. So Mukunda remembered when Prabhupada had similar event happened with Prabhupada earlier. All of you must be knowing with David Allen. Prabhupada, I think yesterday we heard from our Gurudev downstairs, the incorporation of ISKCON. We celebrated yesterday. So there Gurudev was telling that how Prabhupada one time he was living in a room, he was sharing with David Allen, and he was also drug addict. So he was also, he became very addicted to LSD, under influence of LSD. So he was trying to kill Prabhupada. So Prabhupada literally left the house in the mid of night. He was on the road. He left all his belongings, all typewriter, everything was just like that. So Prabhupada was on the road. So we heard it yesterday. So here also Mukunda remembered the same incidents Prabhupada had. He was driven out of his Newark Bowery loft by his roommate David Allen, Prabhupada, who had gone mad on LSD. Then also Prabhupada had remained cool-headed, though caught by the dangerous and awkward circumstance. This is a Vaishnava. So Mukunda went downstairs and awoke Hayagriva. So he saw he cannot handle it single-handedly. So he took help of Hayagriva Prabhu, who was downstairs, he was taking rest, who had a key to Prabhupada's apartment. So then he handed over the key to Prabhupada. Prabhupada opened the door, the locked door, and entered inside his room. So Prabhupada then returned to his room to his dictation of teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Then you see how Mukunda will deal with the girl. So Mukunda saw the girl down to the street and admonished her not to bother an elderly gentleman like the Swami at such an hour. So he requested, don't disturb Swamiji. He is a very elderly man, gentleman. So, staring at Mukunda, the girl said, she said, "You are not ready." I don't know the meaning, something she meant, and walked away. So that's how it ended. So then Prabhupada kept on translating. So then the next morning at 7 o'clock, when Prabhupada came down to the temple for the morning class, the girl was sitting. The same girl was sitting in the class, in the audience, in a calmer state of mind. She was very calm and quiet. This is the influence of Prabhupada. And she apologized. She apologized Prabhupada for the mistake. Later in the day, Prabhupada repeated the story in good humor. So Prabhupada also kept telling what incidents happened yesterday night. So he was recounting how he had several times asked the girl to speak. Prabhupada asked her, speak, but she is not telling anything. Only she told, "Look, Mahaula." The same thing Prabhupada here also repeated. So Prabhupada also imitated her, how she was like a wide open eyes. So here also Prabhupada opened his eyes wide, imitating her expression, and said, "Look, Mahaula." The same thing. And Prabhupada laughed. All other devotees. So that's how it almost ends this part of the section. So it was just one page left out on the last section. So the new section today we are going to start. And the one day morning, some of the Prabhupada disciples were there. So Satsvarup Maharaj writes, "We shall go for a walk at 6:30, Prabhupada said one morning. "You can drive me to the park." So it was a park where Prabhupada wanted to go with his disciples. So several devotees accompanied him to Golden Gate Park. So there's a Golden Gate Park and the Stowe Lake was there. So they knew the park well, all the devotees, and they led Prabhupada on a scenic walk. Scenic means beautiful sceneries. It is called scenic, full of sceneries, nature, around the lake. So, and there was a bridge, they have to cross the bridge and then go to the other part of the lake and the entire lake was surrounded by some small kind of forest. It was very naturally beautiful. So it was through forest enclosed paths and across a small rivulet, a small like a fountain type of thing was falling. It was very beautiful. So all the disciples, they were hoping this will please Prabhupada because this is nature's beauty. Then you see what Prabhupada, how he reacted with the situation. As he walked, striding quickly, he could point to a tree or stop to examine a flower. So there are many trees, the flowers were also there. So then Prabhupada asked, "What is this tree?" Prabhupada would ask, "What is this flower?" Although his disciples were usually at a loss to answer. So nobody could answer. A few days back I also went to Himachal Pradesh so for a preaching work. So there also I saw many trees were there like this we have in our temple in front of the bike stand that imli what they instead of tulsi leaf they use this the tree, what they call I'm forgetting the name. So imla. So they worship that tree. So whenever we go, any tree we see, we can go remember Krishna. Oh, this is used for Krishna service. This tree is worshipable. Like Rupa Goswami describes in Nectar of Devotion. Some of the trees are worshipable. So banyan trees and all. So like here Prabhupada also saw this flower. So what was Prabhupada's consciousness? Although his disciples were usually at a loss to answer, then Prabhupada is telling, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed through the forest of Vrindavan, he said, all the plants, trees and creepers were delighted to see him and rejoiced in his presence. The plant life there is like that of a spiritual sky full of consciousness. So here we see Prabhupada is telling these trees also have consciousness, but now this consciousness is covered. Whereas in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, so everything is fully conscious. So that is what Prabhupada meant. So I'll just refer to Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Adi Lila, in the second, in the Madhya Lila 17th chapter, 192 to 206. This chapter, it describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's year to Vrindavan, how he relished this. I'm just going to the original text for your reference. So normally Lilamrita we don't discuss about Chaitanya Charitamrita Bhagavat, but it inspired me. I like this description. So what is described? When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to see the various forests of Vrindavan, he took the Brahmana with him. So basically all the 12 forests Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited. 7 on the west, 5 on the east. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Madhuvana tala kumuda bahula bana gela taha taha snana kare prema vishta hoila. So very nicely described. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the different forests, including Madhuban, Talban, Kumudaban and Bahulaban. When he went, he took his bath and great ecstasy. Pathega bhi घाट करे चरे प्रभुर देखिया प्रभु के मेडाए आसी हुंकार करिया. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed through the Vrindavan, all the cows who were grazing, they came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they started mooing. They say sound, mooing sound. So seeing the heads approach him, the Lord was stunned with ecstatic love. The cows then began to lick his body with great affection. Then, becoming pacified, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to carekiss the cows, and the cows were unable to give up his company. So they also started going with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then coming to the this flowers and the description, it is exactly from here actually Satsur Maharaj this who took this. Prabhu dekhi Vrindavanera vrikshalata gane ankura pulaka madhu asruvari sane. Upon seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the trees and creepers of Vrindavan become so jubilant, then the twigs stood up. That means they become in ecstasy, and they began to shed tears of ecstasy. How? In form of honey. These trees started shedding honey. Phula phala bhari dala pade prabhu paya bandhu dekhi bandhu jena bhetalana haya. So the tree branches and creepers overloaded with fruits and flowers fell down at the lotus feet of Lord and greeted him with various presentations as they were friends. That means these trees, they were, you have seen these trees, they are like dancing in a very nicely. I have recently visited few months back with Dinabandhu Baba. So he was showing how once we hear, then you can see how they are jubilantly dancing. Otherwise we will see they are just moving. And then as such in Braj, all the branches are down. Normally the tree branches are up. In Braj, most of the trees, the branches are down. So they are here it is mentioned, they want to pay their obeisances at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. So, and they are also overloaded with fruits and flowers. That's how they bow down. So then, thus all the moving and non-moving living entities of Vrindavan become very jubilant to see the Lord. It was as if friends were made happy by seeing another friend. So they are in Saksharas along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Seeing their affection, the Lord was moved by ecstatic love. He began to sport with them exactly as a friend sports with his friends. Thus, he voluntarily came under the control of his friends. So these trees are so fortunate. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to embrace each and every tree and creeper, and then began to offer their fruits and flowers as if in meditation. So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is interacting. The Lord's body was restless, and tears, trembling, jubilation were manifest. He said very loudly, chant Krishna to those trees. And so all moving and non-moving creatures then began to vibrate the transcendental sound Hare Krishna, as if they were echoing a deep sound of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is how Satsuru Maharaj got this reference from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that means wherever Prabhupada is going, he is remembering Krishna. So this is what always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is how, that is our goal. So here then he says, and these trees, Swamiji, how conscious they are. So disciples, all these boys, they were asking Prabhupada, how much conscious these trees are. So then Prabhupada answered, oh, the spirit soul is there, Prabhupada said, but the consciousness has been arrested. Then that means it is covered. There are 4 types of consciousness. The trees and they have totally covered. Then Mukulita means little opened up, and then the birds and animals, they have Mukulita consciousness, and Vikasita means human being. Purna Vikasita means they are like demigods and devotees, advanced devotees. So the whole problem is their perception is limited. They cannot perceive. They have life, they have soul, they have consciousness, but it is covered, the trees. So whatever Prabhupada saw, he saw through the eyes of scripture. This is what we have to learn. Shastra Chakshu. Shastra Chakshu. Unless we read from the scriptures, we can't see these things in the trees and other. We'll think they are also inanimate. So, and his comments on the most ordinary things were full of transcendental instructions. So Prabhupada, whatever he is saying, he is giving his comments. So nobody knew. All these boys, they were surprised to see Prabhupada, oh, he is talking in this way. Then they could understand all these things. As he worked, he reflected aloud. Those who want to see God must first have the qualification to see God. So this is Prabhupada's standard. Unless you are qualified, how you will see God? So what is that qualification? The next sentence Prabhupada is telling, they must be purified. That means their consciousness must be purified of all the 3 modes of material nature and all the impurities, lust, greed, anger, all these 6 enemies. Just like the cloud is now covering the sun, they say, oh, the sun is not out, but the sun is there, only our eyes are covered. So Mahamaya, the external energy, it covers our vision. That is what Prabhupada is saying. So actually Jiva and Paramatma, they are also covered by the curtain. They are covered by the curtain of Mahamaya. So once one is advancing in devotional service, so the Jiva Maya is removed, and the Maya means the curtain covering the Jiva. Then Jiva can, it is called self-realization. And also the covering of Paramatma, which covers from the Jiva, just like the cloud covers the sun, covers our eyes to see the sun. So similarly, why we can't see the Paramatma? Because Paramatma is also covered by Yogamaya. So unless that Yogamaya curtain is removed, we can't see the Paramatma. So those who are Paramatma realized, the yogis and the devotees, like those who are God realized, they can see Paramatma. They can directly, get the signal. Like our spiritual masters, they are non-different from the external manifestation of Paramatma. So they can get the signal from inside. Oh, this is this. Immediately they will tell, oh, this is how it will happen. So I have also many times I met many of our ISKCON gurus. They also say the same thing. They get the internal dictation from the Paramatma. That means unless the mind is fully controlled, one cannot be Paramatma realized. Anyway, so just like tour guides, the boys led Prabhupada to the more picturesque areas. So then once they saw Prabhupada is explaining the philosophical things, so they were also more interested, these boys. So they took Prabhupada to a more picturesque, more scenery area. So they came upon swans gliding on lake. So on the lake was there, surrounding lake, they are doing just like parikrama. And then Prabhupada and the disciples, they could see many swans were moving there, and they were swimming. So here Satsuru Maharaj, Prabhupada said in Srimad Bhagavatam, compares the devotees to swans, and literature about Lord Krishna to be beautiful clear lakes. The non-devotees, he said, were like crows attracted by rubbish of mundane topics. So this is a very important instructive words. So I will like to just read that same verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. if you read the most important, one of the most important chapter in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is the 5th chapter, where Narad Muni instructs Vyasadeva. In that context, in first canto, 5th chapter, verse number 10 and 11, this exact description is there, what Satsvarup Maharaj has taken from there. I would like to read out, just you, Tadbaya satirtham usanti manasa na yatra hamsa niramante usikshaya. So it is said in the, here Narad Muni is telling, those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe. That means the Lord's glories, just words, glorification of the Lord, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. You got the point? So unless, like Vrindavan, Mayapur, all these dhams, what is there? All Lord's glorification is going on. No other, nowadays it is flooded with all these karmis and bikarmis, but actually it is supposed to be like this, earlier days. So here Narad Muni says, so that place where there is no glorification of the name, form, pastimes and qualities of the Lord or paraphernalia of the Lord, that is like a Bayasa Khetra. Bayasa means crow. It is a place for the pilgrimage for the crows. Since the all perfect persons were inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure. So in that purport, Prabhupada says, crows and swans are not birds of same feather, because they are different mental attitude. The fruity workers and just like karmis, and they were more interested in, like they are like crows compared to crows, whereas saintly persons are compared to the swans. Exact same description it is given here by Satsvarup Maharaj. So it is described very elaborately. And the water is, what is that water? It is just like the Krishna Katha, the literature, different literatures. So that is what it is said. So in the next verse, we will see, this is also very famous, Prabhupada quotes many times. Tadbhag visarga janataga viplavo jasmin prati slokam abadhya batte api namne anantasya yasa ankita yat srinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha. On the other hand, that literature which is full of description of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, pastimes, etc. of unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So here we can see the comparison between a devotee and non-devotee has been given by Srila Prabhupada. So then walking over a gravel path, Prabhupada stopped and drew all their boys' attention. Look at the pebbles. As many pebbles are there are that many universes. So Prabhupada is giving the comparison. So there are unlimited number of pebbles. So each pebble is comparable to a universe. There are that many number of universes. And in each universe, there are innumerable living entities. See, whatever Prabhupada was seeing, he was correlating with Krishna. This is called Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. That is how we are, as a practicing sadhaka, devotee, we have to see whatever things in and around in the material world, we have to think of Krishna. That is how Prabhupada is teaching by his own example. So the next paragraph says that the devotee is delighted in bringing Swamiji to a rhododendron glen. Rhododendron glen means it is a tree basically. It is actually a very small tree. It belongs to a called Hither family. It's a botanical name, rhododendron. So and it is very nice flowers, funnel shaped flowers. Some are white, some are very pink, white and pink color. It looks very beautiful actually. So when these devotees, they took Prabhupada to rhododendron glen, and a big bushes completely covered with white and pink flowers, and they felt privileged to see Krishna through Swamiji's eyes. So this is the way we have to see Krishna in everything. How? By association with a pure devotee who can see in everything Krishna. Then he can show us Krishna, isn't it? By hearing, by discussing, when he will say, see, this is how Krishna. So that is the only way. There is no other way. So the next morning, when Prabhupada again wanted to go, so that day passed. The next day again Prabhupada wanted to go to the park. More devotees accompanied him. They had heard from others how Swamiji had displayed a different mood while walking. So previous day Prabhupada explained so many things. So again the boys were ready to lead him along new trails around the lake. But without announcing a change in plans, he walked up and down the macadam road besides the lake. So this time Prabhupada had a different mood. So Prabhupada and his followers came up a flock of sleeping dogs. So there are many dogs. So they were actually taking rest. So they, while Prabhupada is walking, that group of dogs, they were on their way. So awakened by the sound of people walking on the path, the ducks began to quacking. Quacking means they started shaking, out of fear. And they started moving their wings. And they slowly started walking. When a few devotees hurried ahead, so they went ahead of Prabhupada to soothe the ducks. So they shh, like that. Sue means to drive away. They drive away the ducks from Prabhupada's path. And the ducks began making sounds, grunting and grumbling. So typical sound they make. So then the devotees said, "Move, you ducks. You are disturbing Swamiji." Prabhupada said quietly, "As we are thinking, they are disturbing us. They are also thinking we are disturbing them." Just like Vrindavan monkeys. So who is disturbing whom? We are disturbing them. The Vrindavan is their land. We are foreigners. We have come here and we are disturbing the monkeys. So similarly Prabhupada is telling here, we are disturbing the dogs. So Prabhupada stopped beneath a large tree and pointed to some. This is an interesting thing. Where Prabhupada said, to some bird droppings. So they passed tools in and around the tree, and there the ground surrounding the tree, the large tree was there. So then Prabhupada asked, what does this mean? He asked, turning to a new boy. So there are many disciples. So one new boy was there who stood beside Prabhupada. So Prabhupada's face was very serious. So the boy blushed. So then the boy answered, I don't know what it means. Prabhupada remained thoughtful, waiting for an explanation. So Prabhupada is expecting somebody will explain. So the devotees gathered around him, looking intently down at the birds dropping. So devotees were searching, what is there? What Prabhupada is asking? So they are thinking, to seeing the droppings. See, the boy thought the Swamiji might be expecting him to decipher. Decipher means one understanding. It's an understanding something that is not clear. That the meaning is not clear, how to understand that. So that is the meaning of decipher. So expecting him to decipher some hidden meaning. Means Prabhupada will explain it in the pattern of the droppings. The way people read the future in the tea leaves. The tea leaves, people can tell the future. It is mentioned. There are people who are skilled. So he felt he should say something. See the boy, it's the excreta, the defecations of birds. So Prabhupada smiled and turned towards the others for an answer. So all the other boys, they were silent. No answer. Nobody could understand what Prabhupada is asking. Then Prabhupada started talking. It means, said Prabhupada, that these birds, he pronounced the word bird, B-A-R-D, Prabhupada, Bengali style, had lived in the same tree for more than 2 weeks. So Prabhupada could guess, every day the air is different. Some are solid, some are semi-solid, some are liquid. So from that Prabhupada could guess. So it was more than 2 weeks. Then Prabhupada started laughing. He laughed. Even the birds are attached to their apartments. So that is the message. Like we all are attached to this body, attached to this, our possessions, so many things. Like I was just remembering Bharat Maharaj. Just by one deer he was attached. So what was the consequence? 3 more bath he has to take. So then, as they passed the shuffleboard courts and the old man playing checkers, Prabhupada stopped and turned to the boys. Just see, Prabhupada said, old people in this country do not know what to do at this age. So they play like children, wasting their last days, which should be meant for developing Krishna consciousness. Their children are grown and gone away. In foreign countries, the child usually, after age of 15, they leave the parents. So this is a natural time for spiritual cultivation. But no, they get some cat or dog, and instead of serving God, they are serving dog. It is most unfortunate. But they will not listen. Their ways are set. So in this context, I was just remembering, just 2 minutes I'll take, Narad Muni's example. One time Narad Muni was asked Krishna that why you are not delivering all, you are worried, you have made so many scriptures, you are sending a representative, what is the need? You just deliver everybody. Krishna said, what can I do? They are not ready. No, how can you say like this? You go and ask. So Narad Muni came. So there is a man called Kailas. You have heard this story, I am just repeating 2 minutes. So he was a Brahmin basically. So when Narad Muni said, why are you wasting your time? Just come with me. Arey Baba, I am just a boy. Kailas, I am boy, I am just going to school. I have to get my degree. So okay, come after when my degrees are complete, then I will. So Narad Muni came again. So he said, oh, my degrees, I have to get a job. I have to get married. So Narad Muni said, okay. So he got the job, he got married, and so many children were born. So then Narad Muni came. Now your family, everything, business is complete. Now you come. Arey Baba, these children are not yet grown up. They have to take care of them. Who is there? My wife will be alone. So like that, again Narad Muni went back. Again came when that time. So when the children, they are all married, he was also old. Then Narad Muni said, now you are old. Now you must come. It is a high time. Don't no, Baba, my grandchildren, I am waiting for them. So like that, when Narad Muni next time came, he was already dead. So similarly, just very nice story given in some of the Upanishads. So then Prabhupada says, therefore, we were speaking to the youth who are searching. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, 6th chapter, 1st verse, what it says, Kaumaram Achret Pragya Dharman Bhagavatayiha Durlabham Manusham Janma Tadapya Adhrubam Arthadam. So it has to be started at 5 years of time. That is why Prabhupada here says, therefore we are speaking to the youth. Youth is more appealing to the Prabhupada's message. So when Prabhupada and the boys passed a sloping green lawn just off Kezar Drive, the boys pointed out that this was the famous Hippie Hill. In the early morning, the gently sloping hill and the big quiet meadow surrounded by eucalyptuses and oaks were silent and still. But in a few hours, hundreds of hippies would gather here to lounge on the grass, to meet friends and get high drugs. Prabhupada advised the boys. So whenever Prabhupada used to see this kind of scenario, so what he said? To come here and hold kirtan. So this is how Prabhupada made. So with this we completed the first chapter. So next Sunday we will be hearing the second chapter. जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद लीलामृता की जय, उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।